Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to introduce this man. But before I introduce him, I want to introduce the man in the back. This is José.
Thank you.
José is from Honduras. And both of these two are alumni of this very prestigious program called YLAI. YLAI is the Young Leaders of the Americas. This program is like hardcore competitive. What they do is they send you from all these countries to the United States for a month. So they put you up, they feed you, they give you like all this education, and it's completely free, which is wild. So let's talk about this guy. This guy is a YLAI fellow from Honduras, now lives in Guatemala. He is an entrepreneur a few times over. He is a filmmaker. He recently won, what was the Amsterdam prize? What was that?
There was a creative business cup. I represented Honduras in the global creative business cup, basically the Olympics of creative entrepreneurship.
Yeah. He's done like very interesting stuff. The way I measure people is when I spend time with them, do I find myself like getting like excited and want to go conquer the world? And when I hang out with him, that is like very much the feeling I get. So that's like a very high compliment I get.
Thank you.
So he's going to tell us his story. I'll cut him off if he goes too long, but we're going to do it just like we did Barber, right? We're going to hear his story, and then it's open season for whatever y'all want to ask, okay? With that being said, Carlos Matz.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. I'm super excited about this. I really appreciate the opportunity. I love being here in UT. It's the coolest place.
He jumped on a plane to fly here. Wow. For this. That's like a big deal. Like international flight.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm excited to do this, and hopefully I will transmit the real deal of being an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, my career. It's been beautiful and hard at the same time. And then I'm going to, give you, the stuff that I have learned condensed in 3 different categories. And then after that, I'm going to give you the future, what holds for the future for my company and what I hope to accomplish in the future. All right, let's get started. All right, my company's name is Xchematic, Arts and Technology. Xchematic is basically my way of finding a way to make money with the things that I love. I love art and I love technology, so I founded Xchematic. And this is our 16th anniversary. When you guys are around like 20, 19, right? No, 21, something like that? Like the range, right? So I started Xchematic when I was your age, basically. That was 16 years ago. And to give you a little idea of how it was back then. So anybody know what this is?
Yeah.
Well, you do. So yes, exactly. That's DOS. Yeah, with the layer that is beneath the operating system named Windows, right? So back in the day, this used to be the equivalent of Microsoft Word. We used to have this, and this is a word processing application called WordPerfect. So back then, the access to personal computing was especially in developing nations, was very limited, right? So my computer class, back when I was in school, it was only 1 hour a week. And most of the times that when we arrived, there had been some problems with the computer, and we didn't have it, sadly, so my soul was crushed for another week, but my aunt, she used to take these computer classes once a week too, so she brought me over with her as a tag-along, and I learned that way as well. But this was the interface. But what I use this for is to draw. Instead of putting words on, I put lines, and I started drawing because I've always wanted to be an artist. And then this beautiful piece of software came out, and everybody recognizes this, right? Microsoft Paint, right? So when we went from DOS to Paint to actually being able to use the mouse and draw, listen, I went nuts. I was like, what? You can actually do circles now without, doing every single line all around? So I went nuts, and I did this when I was 12 years old. And I remember, just being hypnotized by it. and drawing lines and being able to be as detailed as I wanted. And I think my company started right there. You know, that's when I knew that this would be my future, to do arts and technology. So fast forward to 2004, we got our first Xchematic project. I found a Xchematic while I was in school, and I had a day job as well. So I would go to my day job from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., then to class from 6 to 8, and then have some dinner, and then from 9 to 2 or 3 a.m. I would work on my clients. So it was brutal for a long time. This was my little cave. This was the peak of technology back then, the Razor, right? And this, you know, CRTs and my whiteboard and my big computer. This was my little, my little corner where I would dream that someday I would be here in UT giving this talk. So I wrote this on my whiteboard. Flash forward to an unspecified time in the future. I've always been an idealist, and I've trusted that if you work hard and you love what you do, you will get there. And we'll get back to this. And so 2009, well, I dropped out of school. Then I continued working on my day job. So my first studio in 2009, that's when I quit my blanket of security. I used to work in the central bank, which is the best job security that you could have in the country. But I felt like that was not my future, so I quit. My family looked at me like I was crazy, like, what the hell are you doing? What? And I was doing my own thing. 2010, we got our first international client. I went to Miami to do a whole photo shoot for this startup called Blue, which now it's huge. And then the second studio, 2011, I love this place. I felt like I was the top of the world. This is my small studio. Here it is. A lot of good times there. And then we worked hard for a lot of years, and then we got our big break, so to speak. So in 2014, it was the World Cup, right? And half of the world watches the World Cup. And where we are from, soccer is a religion. So thankfully, given the good work that we've been putting out, this huge corporation tasked us with creating their infrastructure for streaming and websites, like revamp their entire image, their entire website, and their new application in time for the country to watch the World Cup. So thankfully, we made history, and our team went to the World Cup, and we scored our first goal, and it was the first time that it was ever transmitted streaming through our technology. We created their applications, and that app was super popular. It is, oh my God, what happened? You don't have to touch it too much, Carlos. All right, hold on a second. Come on. Oh, here we go. So it was super popular. We were the top 3 trending searches, and we were at the top of the charts. And then, out of stroke of luck, I was selected to go. I'm a big physics and math and science nerd. Everybody knows what CERN is. Yeah, it's the European Center of Nuclear Research. So they were doing a TEDx there. I applied to go. I never thought I would. They would select me, not as a speaker though, but as a guest. They handpick everybody who attends. And I would never have thought that I would see this. This is the control room of the biggest science experiment in humanity, called the Large Hadron Collider. The particle accelerator. And I was there, and this is the picture to prove it, people. I was there. Yeah, CERN. And since I was selected to go there, my plan was to I'm not just gonna go to one event. I'm gonna go all over Europe to go to these conferences and startup competitions to get contacts and try to get clients, right? And a month passed, and I didn't get a client. And but the very last weekend, I decided to go to Amsterdam. And I booked this Airbnb that it looked super cool. It was half a music studio and half an Airbnb. And it looked okay, but when I got there, I mean, it was the coolest place in the world. It was this huge studio with a lot of, percussion kits and analog recorders and guitars and bass, bass guitars everywhere. Heaven, right? And then the other half was this hostel. So we were vibing with the owner, and I told him, listen, dude, I mean, your branding sucks. Your photographs really suck. They don't really do justice what is the beauty and the magic of this place. So I told him, listen, you give me my first flight, and I'm the luckiest guy in the world that he said yes. And on top of that, he's a musician, and he couldn't take care of the hostel as much as he would have wanted, and because he is touring around Europe with his band. So he asked me to stay living in the hostel and take care of their guests and rebrand their entire thing, and a dream job, like the very last day that I was supposed to go to back. So Earthworks Amsterdam, that's my very first client. Shout out to Ben King. You're gonna watch this, Ben, I love you. First European client, we revamped all their photography and their branding and the website and everything. It was beautiful. And since I was living in Amsterdam, I had always had this dream to make a film. I had this story bouncing around in my skull that I just had to do it, and I had it, every year that you make your New Year resolutions, right? So in my New Year resolutions, it was always there, year after year. So it was frustrating for me to see it again and again. It was like I was pregnant, man, for 10 years, And thankfully, since I was in this cool ambiance with artistic people, is like everything conspired for me to start shooting it. I wrote it, I started shooting it, and it was magical. We really bonded with the actors and all the team. It was truly beautiful. And Vanquish, that's my first my short film. It's 9 minutes long. I'm gonna give you a link later so you can watch it. And I had this dream to make a film, and I would not have ever imagined that I was gonna shoot it in Amsterdam. Like, life just has this way of surprising you. And then I come back to my country, and I win 2 awards. Best cinematography and best editing. Thankfully, was one of my, most beautiful moments. My family was super happy. I'm so happy to give them pride, And after that, I was elected to represent Honduras in Hollywood, where they selected us to be as official selection and go do a whole talk about how I did it. And this is me doing that talk. And it was great. The audience was super into it. They loved the story. And that was 2017. So after that, I did the whole thing again, that I applied to something that I didn't know I would get. And that's how YLAI happened, the Young Leaders of the American Initiative. And that is why I'm here right now, because as Cam told you, we were selected as one of 2 of the top 250 entrepreneurs of America, and we had this huge privilege to come over, and UT was our host. And I'm so happy to be giving back what was given to me. And remember that I wrote this flash forward to unspecified time in the future back when I was in my little cave. So through YLAI, I had the honor to make it like a physical exhibition of my work that I called Flash Forward, in honor of that moment when I was young and I was dreaming that I would do all this. I called it Flash Forward because of that, and it's an interactive exhibition that we made at the Motion Media Arts Center. Have you ever been here? In MMAC, the Austin Film School. It's a very cool place. They were my hosts. Shout out to Faiz and Kerry. And we made my exhibition. It was an interactive exhibition of the 15 years of my career, of all the pictures of photography that I had taken all over the world, of all the films that I made, the UX that I had designed, and it was basically a celebration of Xchematic, which was mind blowing to me to be able to do. Those are the pictures. And we screened the film. And then these are my YLAI brothers and sisters. There's Sacha right there. And it was the first time that, so by then I had been working on this new application, the virtual reality application that. So after all these years with my partners, we had brainstorming and just got together and asked, like, what are the new technologies that are basically going to be default for the next decades? And we decided that VR, AI, blockchain, all those are just going to be the default in a couple of decades. So we started working on this VR application that I premiered it in my exhibition in 2018. It was the very first time that I was showing it to the world. And people really liked it. And I only had like a very rough beta back then, but I saw that people really liked it, and I pursued it. And we finished it, and now we have the honor to be at the MIN. MIN is the most important museum in Tegucigalpa. It's the Museo para la Identidad Nacional, Museum for National Identity. And here we are at the inauguration of the new technological wing of the museum. And we made these VR stations where it's an obelisk in which you would grab your visor and put it on and enjoy the beauties of our country or beautiful coral reefs, which are the most, the healthiest coral reefs this side of the world. We have them in VR. And we also showed the ruins of the Mayan culture, which we have is called Copan. We recorded it in VR, and everybody was able, if they couldn't go to the site, they were able to explore it virtually. And now they asked for a second VR station, so they're super happy with the project. Here's me in the inauguration. That's a bad picture. And there I am. This is Forio Nukuta, the ambassador for Japan in Honduras. He really liked it. He's swimming with sharks right there, virtually. And after that, these past couple of years have been very busy. So the second part of YLAI is that you can apply for a reverse exchange. That means, so the US government brought me here, and now I can bring someone that I met here down to Honduras for the benefit of my community. So we created this event called Xchematic Boost, technology and entrepreneurship sessions, in which we partnered with Google and Vicky Sepulveda, which is one of the only 11 Google digital coaches in the world. And she's from here, she's from us, and we became really good friends. And we brought her over to Honduras to give free entrepreneurship and Google platform trainings for everyone that wanted to come. It was free. We went to the universities as well to give these talks, and people really liked them. We showed the film, and we showed our VR technology, and that was great. I mean, it was a true honor to be able to bring someone, especially Google, down to my country to teach my community about new technologies. And with the same project with the VR project that we built, that we first premiered here in the exhibition, I was honored to be selected as a representative of Honduras in the Global Creative Business Cup, the one that Cam told you. So I won the representation, and that was me in Denmark competing for my country. And it was, I mean, it's been a string of truly honors. I'm so happy, and you would say blessed, to be able to say all this. And here's people from Europe trying to swim within the sharks and the corals and everything they really like. So that has been my career so far, from when I dropped out of school and just focused on my work and dropped out of my day job to just focus on my company up until now. And I have learned a lot of things. It's been rough, it's been beautiful, it's been exhilarating. You have a lot of valleys and high peaks. So I'm gonna divide them into three: introspection, business, and grit. So I'm gonna give you like a list of things that I have learned in these three categories. So let's start with introspection. So self-awareness is a skill that you hone. I started my company when I was a kid. I didn't know who I was. I mean, you could argue that you never know who you really are because you grow older and you change and you evolve. But what I have learned is that you have to be aware of your thoughts. You have to listen to yourself, of your feelings. Maybe try to listen and try to figure out why you are thinking what you're thinking. You know, trying to go to the roots of that feeling that you're having and why. You know, try to answer those questions and have maybe a journal, maybe meditate a little bit. But self-awareness and knowing yourself is a great skill to have. Nothing happens if you don't imagine it first. My interactive exhibition was a dream of mine forever, and now I have the honor to say that I did it here in Austin. My film was a pipe dream for me, and I did it in Amsterdam. So if I had never imagined these things, they would never happen. Imagination is the engine of your desires, I would say. And you have to verbalize those desires. Because I mean, self-awareness helps you do this. So you know you want something, but you have to tell it to yourself. I want this. Like, write it down, put it somewhere where you can see it every day. You have to actually say it. The moment you say it, it becomes true to you. You know, somehow your psyche becomes locked into this thing that you have created, and there's a universe where it already happened. So you have to connect that universe to the one that you're in right now. You're not supposed to have it figured out at all. Like, no one can be held accountable. Nobody has to figure it out. It's okay to change your mind. I mean, people evolve, people change, people learn new things, people change for the better, people change for the worse. The crowd that you're hanging out with maybe is not the best, you know, so self-awareness, you have to know yourself, and but don't be hard on yourself either. I mean, nobody's here to tell you that you should have it figured out at 21 or at 36 or whatever. Everybody changes and evolves. Happiness means different things to different people. So even yourself, you think that happiness would look a certain way for you, and maybe when you have it, that was not it. Maybe you were looking for the wrong thing, you know, and maybe other people would be thrilled to be in a position where you would say, I would not want to be in that position, but it's happiness for them. And being able to recognize that it's you know, it's liberating. It's liberating. Bet on your strengths and follow your efforts. So it was natural for me, since I used WordPerfect I knew that I love to draw. My mom used to put me, you know, the way to shut me up was to give me some crayons and, you know, draw something. So I never stopped doing that. Only that my crayons became computers. But follow your efforts. Whenever you see that you're putting a lot of effort into something naturally, just go all the way, just pursue it. And it doesn't have to be only one thing, you can do several things, right? People will tell you, yeah, just focus on one. I mean, just start. Just start doing them all. I mean, you're gonna find your funnel. And be ambitious, but stick to your values. That is important. It's about knowing what you stand for, who you are. But I mean, entrepreneurs, I would say that we're naturally ambitious. We want things, we want to create things, we want to build things. So, but stick to your values. A lot of people get really far by, you know, going over everybody else. You know, that's being Machiavellian. But dude, this is all about good vibes. Let's all love each other. Come on, you have to do that. All right, let's go over to business. This is super important, people. Start as early as possible. I mean, the most difficult thing to do is to start. And it's just this mental block that we all have. Like, we are afraid of that and we procrastinate. But believe me, once you start, everything becomes, you know, way easier. Because just starting, it takes a lot of energy. Just doing the smallest thing, you know, you start getting that little, you know, snow sphere, and you start, you know, rolling it over, and then it picks up speed and it starts gaining momentum, it gets bigger and bigger, and now you're well on your way, right? But you need to start as early as possible. I am so glad that I did, because I have made so many mistakes before. I mean, I've written some really bad, but the good thing is that I made them early on. And the earlier you start, the less responsibility you have. I mean, I'm not saying that someone with kids should not be an entrepreneur. No, they should absolutely go for it, but they have acquired a lot of responsibilities that they have to, juggle in order to get to their goal. Right now, the earlier you start, the younger you start, the less responsibilities you have, and you can, put much more effort and time to your dreams and to your goals. So start as early as possible and make mistakes quick. You will always make mistakes. This is important as well. It's about who you know and who knows you. You can be the best at what you do, but if you don't know the right people, or if nobody knows about you, it doesn't really matter. And and these times it's so easy to get known. Like, social media has changed everything. Everybody, you can get millions of people to know who you are like that. So this should not be a problem. You need to network. You need to socialize. You need to go to the events. You need to know people. You never know what person you will meet, and then they will invite you to give a lecture to UT, right? So this is important as well. Learn all aspects of your craft, and I mean all of them. Because, for example, as a filmmaker, if you're a filmmaker and you don't know how to edit, you're not a filmmaker. If you don't know how to direct, how sound works, how pacing works, how story beats go, you're not really a filmmaker. And you can hire those people, yeah, that's true, you can delegate, but you need to know how everything is done in order for your vision to become accomplished. You can direct those people. If you're a software developer, you need to know a bit about UX. You need to know about sprints, the development sprints. You need to know about platforms. So get as involved as many stages and departments of your craft as possible, because when you're CEO, when you're the owner of your company, you cannot rely on someone that maybe is not giving you the right information. When you know everything, you can just spot it and tell them, hold on, I might not be the expert in your area, but I know this and this and that. So having a good overall knowledge of your craft is paramount. And learning now is, you can learn anything at any time, anywhere, anyway. About partners. I've been so lucky that my business partners, I've chosen them well, thankfully. And they are respectable people, they're amazing people, they are super skillful. Everything that I am not, they are, so they complement me. And they are monsters of their craft. And I know what they do. I know what they do. I'm not, because I have CTOs, but I know about platforms, I know about languages, I know because I used to code before I just started delegating everything. I used to do everything myself before I delegated to my CTO and my developers. So the most important thing is respect. You need to have respect and admiration for them, at least. If you're partnering with someone that you don't respect, that's not a good call. And if their skills are not on point, they need to compliment you. And communication between you, it's a relationship. It's like being married. It's like being married to another person for a business. So this is what I've learned, those three things, how to deal with partners. I've been lucky as well to have met them, and respect is the number one thing. So your ability to adapt and how to deal with adversity will dictate your journey. Motorola, what happened to Motorola? Right, they could not adapt to the mobile revolution. How you deal with adversity, if you have this fixed mindset that you know what you know and everything is gonna be okay. No, man, you have to make it okay. You have to make it happen. And how you deal with, you're gonna have a lot of adversity in your journey as an entrepreneur. That's default. Everybody goes through that. And this thing is not for everybody. You can decide you're not an entrepreneur, and that's okay. You can be the best manager there is, right? But if you're gonna be an entrepreneur, you have to know that this is not glamorous. This is hard work and grit. And but how you deal with adversity, with inevitable adversity, is really what tests you, and you know, you're gonna know what you're really made of, and your ability to adapt. You know, we started making websites back in the day where making websites was so rare. Now everybody and their mother knows how to make a website, right? So we adapted into, you know, creating artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and this new wave of technologies, and we're thriving now because we were not stuck in the past. This is way more important than you think. Have everything in writing, everything with your clients, with your partners, with your everybody that you do business with. You would, one of the mistakes that you make is that you think that the person that you're doing business with have your same values. They don't. Everybody's different, and business is business. It's nothing personal. So have contracts, have emails. It's cover your ass, basically. CYA, basically, and have everything in writing. That way you can come back and prove that you did things right, and do not start anything without a contract. Do not start anything without a formal signature. That is law. And don't do business with assholes. I think that's self-explanatory, right? Let's go to grit. So grit, as I was telling you, entrepreneurship is not glamorous. It's the complete opposite. I have seen a trend in the past 5 years that they paint this entrepreneurship journey as it's, you know, it's beautiful, it's okay, you're gonna be so cool and everything. And I mean, I might be even, you know, giving you the wrong impression because I'm only showing you the highlights, right? But I have been broke 3 times. I have had depression several times. I have had anxiety attacks at 3 a.m. in the morning where I would call my sister and cry. You're gonna feel horrible sometimes because things are not going your way. If you have high pain tolerance and you're gonna get tested. You're gonna test how much pain you can take. And it's not that you can be comfortable in uncertainty. Nobody's comfortable in uncertainty, but if you can play within uncertainty, you're well on your way. So this is not glamorous. This is pure grit. Sometimes you're gonna go, why did I quit my day job? But other times you can say, whoa. I mean, I couldn't believe that I have a short film in Amsterdam, right? If I didn't quit my blanket of security, I would not have done it. But everybody thinks it's a straight line upwards. No, wait, no, it's like this and sometimes back, and you know what I mean? But it's beautiful. The journey is beautiful if you stick with it. Hustle hard. Everybody tells you this. You have to hustle hard. You have to hustle hard. But the key point is not hustling hard. It's hustling smart. You know what I mean? Everybody can tell you just hustle, just do your things. But you can be working on some things that don't matter. You know, you can just be busy but not productive. You know what I mean? Sometimes you procrastinate and you think that you did a lot of progress, but you didn't do anything. You just sent a couple of emails that don't matter, right? So the ability to compartmentalize what really matters and focusing on the things that really matter is really important, because that way is how progress happens. So the equation is hustle. You have to hustle, but be smart about it. Do the things that you have to do, the ones that's going to propel you to a different level. And not being busy, anybody can be busy, but not everybody can be productive. Credibility is earned. Build a track record. If you don't have anything to show, the only ones that are going to trust you is the people like your friends and family, because they love you, right? But when you go up to someone and you're asking something from them, you need to back it up with facts. Nobody's going to believe in you if you haven't done anything, right? And there's no excuse for not having a portfolio now. You can just do mock things and show people your skills, right? And they cannot, they don't necessarily have to be real projects. If you're, just have to, throw your talent into something that you can show, right? And your track record, it's important. If that work is good work, you cannot show bad work. You don't gain credibility with mediocre work. You want to be the best. You want to be good. That's why you're showing your stuff. Otherwise, you're gonna be embarrassed for showing less than stellar things. So build a good track record. Credibility is earned. Luck equals preparation plus opportunity. So you create your own luck. That is true, right? By, like I said, networking and getting to know people, being at least in person, working hard, preparing yourself, getting a lot of knowledge. So that's how you create your own luck. Luck is not this, nebulous thing. No, it's an equation. Slave away, getting experience first. So whatever area you want to dive into in your entrepreneurship, you have to get experience first, play in somebody else's backyard, and try to be indispensable in their backyard. And if learn everything you need to know about their backyard, and then when you're ready, you can start planting your own plants in your own backyard, right? So for example, my day job, which was from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I used to be a graphic designer in marketing for 3 companies. So I learned everything that I had to learn. I learned how to design, I learned how to deal with clients, I learned how to marketing campaigns work, and by the 3rd month, they had gotten rid of their marketing agency and they pulled all the responsibility on me, right? And I was so happy to have all the responsibility. I didn't care about the pay. They were paying me so little, but in knowledge, in experience, it's totally worth it. It's so totally worth it. I slaved away for so many years there, but I'm so glad that I had mentors and I had really good bosses that would give me the confidence and believed in me I still am a hard worker. When you're a hard worker and people know that you want to become this person, they give you the opportunity. So get your backyard. Self-motivation and drive are paramount. Sometimes being an entrepreneur, you get lonely. You do have partners, of course, but when you're sole co-founder, my partners came into Xchematic by year 9, and then the second one came by year 13. We're now 16 years in career. So the first 9 years I was alone by myself. I didn't have anybody to bounce ideas from and talk. So it was hard. It was way harder. But if you have a big vision and you're committed to that vision, self-motivation becomes natural, I would say. And the drive to do it, like I had all this energy from going from my day job to university when I was in university, and then working all night because it was so exciting to have clients. I felt like a grown-up. Oh my God, I have clients now. And so it's important that you commit to your vision. That way self-motivation is not going to be an issue. And right now, guys, of course, we're in the best moment ever in humanity to create. There has never been so many resources, so many, such a direct access to information and knowledge than ever before. We live in the future now. It's 2020. It's ridiculous that all we have to do is get our phones and we can learn anything and be a person of value in as little as 3 months. What, 60, 70 years ago, those 3 months would be years, But right now, we have to take advantage of the technologies and the connections that we have, and all this surplus of creativity and resources that you have to take advantage of that. We're in the best time in humanity ever. So if you want to create, you just have to commit to your vision and create. So now I'm going to tell you about the future of my company. So thankfully, right now we are in a place where, like I told you, we were looking for nice for new technologies, and we committed to 2. We committed to artificial intelligence and virtual reality. So now I have 2 more companies that are spin-offs of my main one. ICA is an AI assistant for enterprise that I'm going to show you more afterwards. by Xchematic. We just founded it, and the second one is Mundo VR. It's the extension of Honduras VR, the platform that I told you about. This is the extension of it, and I'm so excited because I'm starting all over again. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm giddy. I have this. I'm so excited for the future because we're creating new things that have not been created yet, right? And there was a brief period in my life where I was lucky to be bored. You know what I mean? It was like, oh my God, it's been 15 years. I can just relax now. I got over the hump. I can chill. I can see the world. I can just go to a beach and chill. But too much of that is not really good if you are ambitious. It gets more of the same is it's the same, right? So that little bug inside of me knew that I would have to re-emerge and be who I'm supposed to be. And so we created these two companies, and I'm so excited about it. And remember, it all started because I went berserk one night with Microsoft Paint. So I urge you to find your passion and to believe in it and to create your vision and commit to it and work hard for it. Hook 'em. Yeah.
We got any questions for Carlos?
Okay, so you said that you dropped out and your day job, right? Okay, so I'm from Mexico.
Hola.
And I know how fancy it can be. So how did you deal with that? How did you continue getting support?
So, I was lucky to have been left to my own devices. And when I dropped out of school and focused on only having a day job and then working on my clients, my sister has always been closer to me. So she always told me, like, listen, are you sure of this? Are you sure what you're doing? And I was not sure. I just knew that that was not, but they let me be, And then when I quit my day job, being part of Banco Central it's very prestigious, especially because there's two types. There's the contracts, and there are the people that a position is made for them, right? And I was lucky enough that I had my own position. I was not on contract. I was forever, and they have a lot of perks. They give you 18 salaries a year, so 1/3 more than you're supposed to get. The health benefits are amazing. There's a country club that you can go with your family. So when I told my family that I was quitting, they said, like, so we're not gonna have access to the country club anymore? So that's how I dealt with it. I was like, well, no. But they believed in me. They left me to all devices because I learned to be independent. I learned to make my own decisions, to have my own calls, and if I messed up, I messed up. I would deal with it. But I'm thankful to them that they would just let me be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Did you ever have to go through rounds of funding to fund this avenue for you, or did you more so bootstrap it?
Everything is bootstrapped.
Awesome.
Everything is bootstrapped as of now, and the only funding that we got is when my partners came into the company. So it's vested interest, right? So they have to buy shares of my company. So that's the only money that has gone into my ventures as of now.
Would you explain vesting?
So you go ahead.
We'll explain vesting.
Yeah. So, this new era of Xchematic, in which we're spinning off into two companies, artificial intelligence and virtual reality, we're entering this stage now. We're entering the stage in which we are looking for investors, and investors are excited and are getting to it's bubbling. So I'm a rookie in that right now. I feel like, okay, I'm learning so much because these past couple of months have been all learning about how SAFE works, about how convertible notes work.
SAFE is secure agreement for future equity. It's like a handshake deal for stocks.
Yeah, and how rounds of funding work and how valuation works and how all that I'm learning now, and we are in the stage now that we're starting to, as a matter of fact, next week we have this big event where we're going to show our AI technology to some, VCs, and I'll let you know.
How did you, or when did you change from just coding all of your things and then moving towards more of the entrepreneurial work? Like, was that during the app, and how was that transition?
No, that was early on. I used to design, do the photographs, and do all the coding of the earlier websites. And, I learned, HTML, CSS, PHP, JavaScript, all that. But I knew that my passion was designing. Coding gave me anxiety. It's super, it's like, why don't you work? You know what I mean? And with designing, you just know what you do and you design it as that, right? So I always knew that I was not a developer. I always knew that I was a designer, but I had to do it because I'm the only one in the company and I have clients, so there's no choice, right? And it all changed when I hired my very first employee. He's a super great coder. He's one of the best coders in Honduras, thankfully, and I had the honor to have him as a first employee, and I delegated that, and you have to be smart. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing, but if you have to do it, you just do it. There's just no other way. So it was early on. By 2009, I delegated all that, and now I have CTOs. Yeah, I CTO. Yeah.
You mentioned that feeling when you had your first client. So you're finally getting paid for your craft, and you're pouring into something. How did you get yourself to kind of turn away from all your other responsibilities, the things that have been sustainable, towards this one individual now is finally paying me for my craft? How do I get another client, right?
I didn't turn away from our responsibilities. I just didn't sleep as much. I just did everything I had to, and then word of mouth spread. That if you do good work and passionate work, people are going to talk about you. That's the best type of marketing that there is. So no, I didn't. What I did is I when it got overwhelming for me that I couldn't handle my day job and my clients, I just said, okay, it's time for me to leave, right, and focus on my clients exclusively. But no, man, I just didn't sleep as much. Anybody else?
It seems like you dabbled in a lot of different things, but I feel like education now trains us to be specialized in one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you recommend balancing figuring out everything you want to do at the same time, becoming really good at one thing?
How do you balance to?
Because how did you balance your different interests, but also getting good at something?
So, I just happen to be interested in so many things. I love film, I love design, I love AI, I love VR, and I love innovation. I love arts as a whole category. It's my thing, and I read a lot, so I just absorb everything and I didn't pick and choose at all. I just nerded out. You know what I mean? I just nerded out. If I loved something, I just found all the articles, all the tutorials, everything. So, and maybe the next day I was not doing the same thing, but I was learning about something else, and I was watching cinematography the next day, and then learning how to design for, spatial and volumetric user interfaces. You know what I'm saying? So, I never specialized. I just learned, the 80-20 rule, basically. You can get 80% there with 20% of the resources. So maybe leverage that. Like for example, in animation, if you know 3 different tricks, like fade in, fade out, ease in, ease out, and you can make a beautiful thing out of just that. You know what I mean? So what I would say is distill the core 20% so you can get to the 80%. There's this book that it might help you. Tim Ferriss, the 4-Hour Work Week. He's super good. He lives here, by the way. And reading that book really changed how I looked at information as a whole. And no, I just nerded out. That's what I did. Yeah.
Have
did you market that to other people to accept you? Because like when I go into job interviews, like I'll have like my portfolio with everything. They're like, oh, like they want such a specific position, but like you're good at a lot of things. So how did you let people like understand that? Because it's hard to like show that when you're trying to prove it to other people.
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends on what they want. I mean, if they only want one thing, I only show them the stuff that I've done in one thing. You know, because you can lose credibility, right? Most people don't, they think that if you have done a lot of everything, you're not good at anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, just prove them wrong. That's what you have to do. That's it. Just learn and show them, listen, I'm good at this. And then if they ask about something else, oh, I'm good at that as well, you know? So get your track record. Get as best as you can with your passions and just prove them wrong.
So just to follow on her question, Carlos, it seems like if given a choice between jumping in on something or not, you just jump in.
Yeah, man.
And like, it seems like you're fearless in many ways, and not all of us are fearless. So are you just naturally that way, or do you ever have moments of doubt yourself? And what did you do that allowed you to take this approach? Because I'm not sure we all have the same, we're like the before picture on this sometimes.
You know, you have to straddle this balance between hardcore self-confidence without being egotistic nor arrogant, and being deeply humble. You know, that you don't know everything, and that if you make a mistake, you can recognize your mistake and learn from that. So it's a balance between being delusional that you can do everything and actually putting your mouth where what's the saying?
Your money where your mouth is.
Your money where your mouth is. So it's once you get that traction, once you start feeling better about yourself. You go like, oh, I was able to do that. Maybe I'm able to do this as well. And you start training, and then after some years, you become self-confident. It's like, okay, all I have to do is learn, prove, learn, prove. And that's how you become fearless, I guess. So.
For the contract, you said the importance or the emphasis on always having a contract.
Yeah.
How did you start to learn that process, or who did you rely on to figure out how to create contracts and make sure that they were, secure and binding?
So initially, I didn't have any money for lawyers nor anything, so I just downloaded a template from the internet, and tweaked it to suit my needs and my clients' needs, and I just went with that. But after a while, I started seeing that it had a lot of holes. Right, and a lot of things started happening, so you start to fill those holes, and but no, I mean that's actually not very good advice. Get a lawyer, as fast as you can.
That's the right. Do what he did, but you can't do that forever.
Yeah, I can do it forever. But once you have a template, and you have a lawyer, review it and everything, but you have to bootstrap it first, right? Or if you have an uncle, that's a lawyer. Or a friend that has an uncle, then go with that. But always get second opinions, because you might mess up. All right? Tell me, man.
What were some key indicators from when you knew you were spreading yourself a little too wide? From when maybe you felt like there wasn't enough hours in the day, and you just can't change the feeling, you want to keep going, but you also have to sleep. How did you know?
Yeah, man.
You were spreading yourself too wide.
You start developing bad habits. You really start getting way too many energy drinks, getting way too many chocolates, and eating too little. So there was this week, I remember, years ago, that I had to design 3 full websites and make a presentation, and fearless me just wanted to do it, right? Like, I can do this. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy at all. But you have to, sometimes you have to do it to prove yourself. You know what I mean? And if you emerge the other side and you did everything as best as possible, well, you can do it, but be careful, because you're not young forever, right? So I think that was the time when I said, no, listen. I remember I went back home and my family told me, like, boy, when are you gonna sleep? I'm like, it's only been 2 days. No, it's been a week. You haven't slept for a week. So I had to force myself to get like an hour 30 of rest, you know, in order to, I had like tachycardia. It was, that's not healthy at all. That's not healthy at all. But hey, I put myself in this position, right? Now I have to commit and do it. So I would not recommend that unhealthy lifestyle on anyone, but sometimes you just have to deliver, right? Anybody else?
You seem like you're really good at learning. How did you learn how to learn?
Ooh. Wait a second. No, but back then we didn't have this thing called YouTube, where it's video, right? And I think it was easy for me to learn what I know now because I was passionate about it. If you're not passionate about the subject that you want to learn, there's going to be a block. Information is just not going to come through. So I love filmmaking. I mean, for me, watching tutorials and the behind the scenes of movies was exquisite for me, like physically pleasurable. You know what I mean? And learning about UX. I love movement, I love design, I love creating interactions where people interact, and I love when people are smiling using my stuff and they don't realize that they're smiling. That's my goal, and I love learning how to create that. So I would say it's just because I love so many things that it's easy for me to learn. If I love physics, I learned quantum mechanics just because I loved it the other day. Not the other day, the past years I've been learning. No, I'm not Tony Stark, right? No. So, yeah, so if you love what you do, what you want to create, it's going to be easy for you. It's going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be, it's a gym for your soul, I would say. All right?
Question?
Yeah.
You're in the technology business, and sometimes you come to a limit, meaning you want to deliver much more than the current technology allows you to. So how do you learn to learn, just like you said, like learn exactly to learn new things in technology? Do you go on YouTube? Like, where do you go find these resources to learn these new things?
No, I mean, there was not YouTube, but I mean, the resources were there on the internet. You know, I'm thankful that I got the education where I got to learn how to speak English and how to read in English, and that's a big advantage for me. Because I don't know what percentages, but the vast percentage of resources in the internet are in English, right? And now it's starting to grow in other languages, but back then not at all. So so I just devoured everything that came my way. I looked for it, and back then it was not video. You had to read and follow, and if you didn't understand anything, it was like, oh my god, what is this? So you try, get anxious, try, leave it, then come back 3 days, and then, oh, it works, okay, So just trial and error, and I was fortunate enough to hang out with very knowledgeable people. So I could extract information from them. I would ask a lot of questions, and they would be glad to tell me about them because they were nerds like me, They were nerds as well. So when you're nerding out with someone, a lot of information surfaces and you absorb it. And my business partners are so intelligent that we just nerd out all the time, and I learned a lot from them. And and back then I used to be a loner. I didn't have much time to socialize at all. So it was just me and the computer. But now I have the support of the community that like I told you, go network, go meet with other people, get new acquaintances, get to know each other, and you're gonna learn from each other. If you don't find it on the net, you can find it from somebody else. And it's even easier when someone is teaching you and getting that vibe. It's direct to your brain, because it goes through your heart because you love it, right? So that's how.
All right, gang. We're going to wrap this up. He'll be around for another few minutes. If y'all want to talk to him afterwards, please don't mob him. But if we could give a round of applause. Well, we have one other thing we want to do. The way we show appreciation and thanks is you need to grab your... Well, we're filming. Okay. So what we're going to do is, we know you're on the entrepreneurial journey, and that sometimes it's great, but sometimes it sucks. I mean, you told us about this. So we figured that the thing that you can have for like a shot of adrenaline when it sucks is you can go back to a video of us going nuts screaming your name.
What?
So that's what we're gonna do, and you can just watch it when you need to pick me up, okay? So as long as the tape's rolling, are we ready?
Yeah.
What?
Okay. Thank you very much. You're beautiful. You're all beautiful. Thank you.